you're the director for the Miracle Club, and I saw that it took you 15 years to actually take on the project. So why was there that delay? And why did you decide to take it on? What was amazing about this story, you thought? Why did you like it?
Well, it took a long time in development because I was first involved about 10 or 15 years ago, and uh, it didn't get made at that time, and I forgot entirely about it. I wasn't involved with it then until I got approached by the producer 2 or 3 years ago, and so I engaged with it again. And at that time, there was a writer on board who I'd worked with before, Tim Prager. So I was happy to get involved again. Um, I've always liked the project. I just the strap line is so good. You know, a bunch of women go to Lourdes looking for a miracle. Uh, what could possibly go wrong? Uh, and so I've always had that in my head. You know, there's that journey. It was like a road movie in a way. And I've always, I mean, you know, all stories are a journey of discovery, and this is a great excuse for that. It's like a road movie. You know, you get going and you don't know where you're going to end up, but you have this great experience on the way. And I guess it was that feeling of you know, you go in one side of the circus and you're one thing, and you come out the other side and you're not changed, but you've certainly had a steep learning curve. And you know, these women, they both use their experience of age well, and then they don't use it at all, which is quite interesting. Um, and so they do come out. So you don't, at that age, and that's my age, you don't expect to go through these great changes, really. You think you know, you're experienced in life and you're wiser and all of that. And so you think, okay, I'll wait to die now. So they go to Lourdes, and because of this intervention, which is the Laura Linney character, they're confronted with something that completely knocks them sideways. They just unexpected. It's not something. It screws up their holiday. Basically, is how they see it. And well, they would have had more than a holiday. Of course, they were looking for more than that. But people go to Lourdes to have a good. Catholics go to Lourdes to have a good time as well. So uh, they they are wise on the one hand, but they weren't wise enough to question the past and the guilt that they've been humping around on their backs, which has been crippling them for all these years. But when they saw an opportunity to engage with it, with the Laura Linney character, they took it, and they come out having learned something, despite how wise they were. I think the Maggie Smith character, certainly must have been an indomitable character as a young woman. Um, but so she's pretty wise. And they're all beautifully cast. You know, with stars, it's hard, you know, to believe that you could cast those three characters who have such massive careers in parts like this where they'd be right. But I think they all took to their characters like ducks to water. They were.
What was it like on set? Because I did read that the set y'all created, correct? It wasn't actually in Lourdes.
That's right.
I thought it was in Lourdes. I was like, oh, this is so beautiful. How did y'all go about doing that? Because did you take the shots at the cathedral? I mean, or the shrine and do it separately? How did that work?
So there's sort of three elements really. You build the sets, the grotto or the shrine is referred to sometimes, and we build the baths, and we built all the interiors of the houses. But as regards Lourdes, we built the grotto, and then everything above the grotto was added in with computer generated imagery, and so we completely created the cathedral above the grotto, artificially with
Oh,
a
wow.
computer. And then we also used, and this is quite common, we also used some library material of Lourdes. So, standard shots of wide shots of the city of Lourdes, which you couldn't get except going there with a drone, whatever. And some detailed shots of pilgrims we used, not many, but mostly it's created by our own hand, but just few library shots, not many.
What or did anyone develop a devotion to Our Lady of Lourdes as a result of this? What did did the cast study the story and everything behind it? I mean, how did that work out?
I think the actors, it was very much the character led investigation, if I could say that. Actors often use that, investigative character. I don't think Our Lady came into it. I think I think only in terms of the character that they were portraying. Kathy Bates felt very connected with Ireland because, again, like yourself, she had like her husband had her partner. Sorry, she had a great grandparents were Irish, and she felt, she didn't know a lot about Ireland, but she felt comfortable being told things, and that makes a big difference. If people feel any kind of connection at all, and you can sort of say, well, that's just how it is here, and they can, okay, I get it. I've learned something. I don't need to know the history. I just need you to tell me, and that's one thing I felt that I could do because I grew up there. I grew up in an exclusively Catholic culture. I had nuns, I had Christian brothers, and I had priests teaching me the whole thing. So I could make the actors feel comfortable about that. And I hope they did feel comfortable about that. But much more beyond that, they probably wouldn't engage in terms of the religiosity, because it's too big an issue to take on. But they could understand spirituality and what that would mean to them. Maggie Smith going into the bath, that one shot of her on her own in the bath. I mean, that's just and she looks up. I didn't do a shot of the statue, but when she's getting into the bath, she looks up, and I just wanted. She's looking up at us. There was a statue there of
Oh,
Our Lady, yeah, but I didn't use it because I wanted to feel that she was looking up at not just Our Lady, but everything. She was looking up at heaven, God, Jesus. She was communicating, and so but in her head, in her mind's eye, there was a statue there. No, she could see a statue in her mind's eye. There was a heavenly spiritual experience what she was having.
can you elaborate on that a little bit, or is that just pretty much it?
Oh, so is that what you do when you get to the end of a book? You put it down and go, "Is that it?"
No. No, I just wanted to know if there's any super, like, did she explain that to you? Did she tell you, I
Oh,
felt God whenever I was?
okay. Because I thought I was doing pretty well there, but
You were.
no, I see what you mean. The answer is no. And this is the level that these actors perform at. Sure, we talked about the characters, but the reason they did the script because they felt they knew the characters, and they would only come really to me for the culture references, like I said. So I would have said to Maggie, you know, you've just, I would have said very little, but you've just had this conversation where you've revealed a terrible thing that you've done, and now you're going into baptismal like water, and what's that going to feel like? So you make it pretty simple. I mean, big idea, but you expressed it simply, and that's the point. An actor of that magnitude, you can't tell them anymore, and they know what to do. And so it was just her expression in that. And that it was one of the last shots of the film. It was very late. Maggie had done a 10-hour day. She must have been exhausted. She took her clothes off. She put this robe on. She went into the water, and and uh, and I was shouting at her from behind the camera, "Do this, do that," and look up now, look up now, and then we did the shot, and that was it. We only did it once, and she didn't say, "Oh, I've got another idea. Oh, I could do it again." She knew she'd done something that was apt, and I suppose if I'd really wanted her to do it again, she would have. But it can be quite simple with working with actors like that. You have to make it simple. If you get it too complicated, it just crashes into all the other wonderful instincts that they're having. You don't want to be messing them up, which you can do very easily.
So was the water blessed? Was it real Lourdes water or just regular water?
Now you're pulling my leg.
No, I'm serious.
Are you? No, because well, I could have done it secretly and quietly, but I think if I told them that the water was blessed, I think they would think I was a bit weird.
Oh, okay. So you're not going to tell me yes or no?
Oh no, it wasn't. I can tell
Oh,
you.
okay. Well,
Uh,
darn.
but I grew up at Lourdes Water. It was on the doorway as you go out, and there was always a bottle. Always somebody came back from Lourdes, and they'd bring a bottle of Lourdes water, and my mother would religiously put a little drop in, especially on Sundays, in the little thing that you bless yourself with.
I wanted to know, well, how did your Catholic faith influence your directing in all of this? Because it's interesting they came to you. Did they come to you because you're Catholic or just because they
Uh,
wanted you?
I was approached in the very first place because I was Irish, and they felt that if we're making a film with some non-Irish actors, we at least should get an Irish director. At least he'll know what he's talking about, or say that again, not to give the actors lectures about Catholicism, but just to tell them what's right and what they're doing is wrong and won't work in terms of Catholic expressions of a Catholic nature, or whatever. That's all a director does. You just guide. So so that's why I would have been brought on in the first place. And as regards my Catholic upbringing, it informed everything I did. I wouldn't say I did it as a Catholic, but I was able to deal with things because I had experience as a Catholic. I was able to suggest that they do this or that, um, and you know, so I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have made that film. I wouldn't have made it if I hadn't grown up in Dublin and knew and wasn't working class and hadn't been a devout Catholic or hadn't grown up in that culture. I wouldn't have done the film because I wouldn't have been any good. I have done films which I did a film in America, and the producer said to the producer, it was about the mafia. And I said, I don't want about the mafia. I know nothing about the mafia. He said, come and I'll talk you. Come to New York and I'll let you talk to some people, and then you'll know all about the mafia. And he was right. I went to New York. I met these really strange characters, and I made a film about the mafia. And it wasn't bad. But so it can be done. But I was probably naive enough to think I could make that film. But I wasn't naive enough to think I could make this film without knowing what I know and having been a Catholic. Lourdes was a massive thing as we were growing up. There was people went, and people had different experiences, and people went for different reasons. And pilgrimage was a big thing. We went on pilgrimages to Knock, which is a Marian shrine in the west of Ireland. We used to go there. My parents would stick us in the back of the car, all three of us, drive us down to Knock, 4-hour drive. I'm talking about the 50s. So that's a long drive. And we'd be saying the rosary on the way down and the rosary on the way back. And it was like, give me a break. And when I'd be maybe 7 or 8, 9 or 10, I can't remember. And all my brothers and all we do a fight. And then we get there and we walk around the church where Our Lady was to have appeared. And then we get back in the car. And then we buy a souvenir first, a medal, an immaculate medal. And that's why Kathy Bates says, she sees the Immaculate Conception medals. And she says, I'll have 10 of those.
That was you?
You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Really
did you put that in there?
That kind of thing. So, I know about those medals. I know about the statues. I know about, I know about all that stuff. So, Kathy Bates didn't need, understood it perfectly well, because you don't have to be a Catholic to understand every religion has its iconography. And when you go on pilgrimage, you take that with you, or you buy it when you're there, or anyway, yeah.
Is there anything you want your Catholic audience to know about this film, or what you would like them to take from it?
Well, you can tell them, you can lie to them, and you can tell them the water's blessed. And I went to Lourdes and I got it myself, and I brought back 1,000 bottles of Lourdes water and I poured it into the set. You can tell them that. No, I think I've been the last person to instruct a Catholic. I had so much Catholic instruction, really. I don't think I could ever talk in those terms again, but I could talk in terms of how the film talks, which is in spirituality and reconciliation, and shaking some of that guilt off. I think, and Maggie Smith character says at the end, when she comes out of the water, she says, there is hope, isn't there? And that's, she's earned that. She's earned the right to say that. Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have. I think you gave me some good answers. So I think they want to get you on to the next interview.
You gave me some wonderful questions. I'll never forget the one about the water.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm Jacqueline, if you ever want to remember me again.
Thanks, Jacqueline.